Greetings, everyone. It is Thursday, 4 p.m. on the eastern seaboard of the United States. And you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? It is time to cuss with the one with the cloven tongue, the one who has the vernacular, who is spectacular, the one and only Gus Demos from perpetualassets.com. And guys, straight up, if you have a 401k, and you're worried about it being a 101k, or even worse, a 0.101k, then you need to contact Gus Demos or his buddy Will Lear at perpetualassets.com. The reason why you want to do that is this. They will take the power away from the banksters and give you the destiny of your own retirement. What a novel idea. God forbid the powers that be let that happen, but sure enough they do. Now, them handing it over to you, that allows you to direct your destiny in your portfolio. Grab the bull by the horns, invest in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, stocks, bonds, real estate, whatever the hell you want to do. Just contact Perpetual Assets and they will make it happen. They even have this nifty thing where you can buy silver and they'll give you a Visa, MasterCard, debit card. You can go out and purchase stuff, buy things. You've been looking at that new Voltron doll. You want it so bad, you go out and get it using your silver-backed Visa, MasterCard, and voila, they've made silver fungible. You want to know how this happens? Contact Will Lear or the main man, the one with the silver tongue himself, Gus Demos. With that out of the way, Gus Demos. Gus, I'm ready to cuss with you, buddy. What's going on?
Dude, it's been a couple weeks, man. How are you guys holding up? How's everything going?
Good. I'm hanging in there. So far, so good. I can't complain, man. I mean, so many things are happening. You got hurricanes and typhoons and typhoid and syphilis, gonorrhea. Everything's happening, man. It's craziness everywhere.
Yes. Well, I've had a crazy couple weeks too. Vegas. I told you guys, Vegas was a long trip, and now I'm working all this week, but my mom's coming up for her birthday in LA. So I stopped in Orange County for 2 days, and then I'm going to LA tomorrow morning to meet up with my mom and my aunt. So I was in the prostitution and gambling capital of the country, and now I'm in the fake tit capital of the country. And then I'm going up to the liberal utopia of LA. So that'll definitely be a good time. But to your point, it's been an insane couple weeks. It's like, between all the Bitcoin news, the natural disasters, all of it, it's been the free speech war at Berkeley starts next week too. So, dude, I'm tempted to go up for a day or two, go visit our man Bix in his backyard and see if me and Bix could disguise ourselves as Antifa members and go out there and see what the hell's going on. But it's been a crazy 2 weeks, and the week ahead should be pretty insane as well.
If you're going to meet up with the wild man of Oakland, I recommend two things. You bring yourself some cigars, bring yourself some beer, and then if you really want to infiltrate Pantifa, you have to have the secret undergarments, which is basically Victoria's Secret's spring collection. If you wear that underneath your skinny jeans, you guys should be all right.
The Victoria's Secret Che Guevara collection.
That's it.
Dude, I don't know if you're kind of in the same mindset. I never attend any of this fucking shit. Like, it doesn't matter who's. I can't tell. I mean, we do trade shows and conferences and stuff for business. But I can't tell you the last time I went to a political speech or anything like that. But having watched this shit from afar for a couple of years, for me, it'd be more curiosity. And if I happen to get hit by a communist, it would be fun to turn around and choke them. But it's just, is it really worth your time? I mean, it's tempting. Like, I'm like, out of curiosity, I kind of want to go and see if it's crazy in person as it looks on TV. But what's the upside? You know, I ultimately I feed my curiosity, but the upside is, all right, you went there, you observed it. The downside is there's a chance you might choke a few of those motherfuckers to death. So it's truthfully, think about it. If someone hits you with like an Antifa flag in the back of your fucking head, like, do they think like I'm gonna sit there and like huddle in the corner and start fucking shaking for in my boots? No, people are gonna start getting fucking knocked the fuck out or choked. So and whoever it is, if I see a mask, I'll just start fucking swinging. But again, what is that at 40 years old? What's the fucking upside of that? Like, to feel better about myself for a little bit. But I am curious what it'd be like, and I'm not sure if you've ever like went to any of that shit and seen them in person or not, but I personally haven't.
No, I haven't done any of that, man. It's, being, you and I are about the same age, and me with family, and you with your singleness and talent, and maybe one day you'll settle down. But no, there is no upside. I mean, granted, dude, let's be honest. There is some frustrations that we'd want to like vent, and some Pantifa members would be the perfect punching bags for you and I to throw around and use as piñatas. Just pick them up and start beating each other. Just, I don't know, pick up one Pantifa member and then beat the other Pantifa member with the one you picked up would be ideal. But what is the upside? That you and I will wind up getting arrested, this, that, and the other. It's just, but it'll be fun. But in a perfect world, it'll be fun, because then the cops will just hang back and just watch us, kicking the crap out of them. But that never happens, No, and the danger is a lot of them. They'll use weapons. I fully expect them to come out guns blazing. And when you're in a place like Berkeley in Northern Cal, everything that you could observe of everything that's been going on there last 18 months, is the police ultimately fucking stand down. Like, you have these people show up with weapons, with crowbars or bats or flagpoles or whatever. They show up with M80s, they show up with mace, they show up with this. So they disarm the conservative speakers, then they let the communists run in, and when the communists run in armed, like, the police fucking stand down, and they wonder why there's chaos. So it's hard when you have, for us to, even if I was tempted to go and do something like that, like, I'll go observe it, and if it gets physical, so be it. I'm just defending myself. But it's hard when the governing body of the geographical area is on their side. Like, so exactly. Dude, you're at that point, me and you would be like, we're in total enemy territory. So I could get hit with the back of the head with a crowbar, and then I turn around and choke a bitch, and they would put handcuffs on me. So you're there. Make no mistake about it. The local officials out there they're fucking communists too. They're just 20 years older. So it's not good to be behind enemy lines and be so defenseless, because not only do you have to deal with the insane ideology, but you're dealing with the fucking bureaucrats of the area, which are, again, probably even more dangerous because they have the law on their side. So yeah, dude, if I was 10, 15 years younger, and had less to lose, maybe, but now it's like, fuck them. Let the little commies let the little commies do their bullshit. But I heard and I read that Shapiro and Milo and whoever else is going up there, all the other speakers, I think Milo's going in there with literally 10 ex-SEALs. So he something like that. It was a big number, dude, like a dozen or 15 or something like that. Seriously, ex-SEAL unit going up. So they're going up there ready for fucking war. So are we approaching sending in the feds territory? When the locals of these places, these communist liberal hotbeds, when they just stand down and watch their own cities burn, is it time to send in? I'm not pro feds and I'm not pro government, but at some point when you're not following the rule of law, I think the feds should go in there and do something if the cops are just going to watch. I don't know. I don't know if you feel differently about it or what. I think at this level, at this junction, man, would the feds do something? They should. They should do something to calm or keep the peace. But the problem is this. It's, when you're going out there to the left coast, you are literally in enemy territory. It's not like, in Texas, where if the Pantifa show up, you can beat them up. Everybody gets a good laugh. Pantifa goes home with atomic wedgies. Some of the Pantifa, the androgynous ones, finally realize that they actually have balls, even though how small it is. But in the left coast, man, I think the best thing you could do is just, use Bix's drone and fly the drone over there while you guys are hanging out in the corner on his electric scooter. That'd be the best thing to do.
Bix's drone, Ethereum 1.
Yes.
I could see him nicknaming drones after cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin 3. No, dude, and I think, man, I think Berkeley's like, I could be, I'd have to ask him directly, but I think it's like 15 minutes, half hour from where he lives. So
it's practically his backyard.
Yeah, exactly right. I think he's right there. So I have, and I don't think Bix is married, kids, all the rest. So I don't think Bix has to deal with them all as much as I do. Like having to be where I'm actually like going out and having to, mingle at bars on Fridays and Saturday nights. I don't think Bix is as angry about them as I am. So that's probably a blessing for him, where if he was exposed to them as much as I am, like he might have the same frustrations. But it's again, when you got a family and stuff, you're not going out and getting yelled at by feminists every weekend for lighting a cigar 30 feet from a front door or whatever. So yeah, it's insane. I think we're on the same page, bro. Just let them do their thing. They're gonna do whatever the fuck they want in Cali anyway. So be it. We have bigger fish to fry. Like I come back from it all. The crypto shit this week has been out of fucking control. I mean, we've seen it all before. I love it. I love it too, dude. It's the Wild West, and this is the time. What's happened the last week? This is the time when you dive in with liquidity and capital and pounce. Like, we don't give recommendations at our firm, but people love. For some reason, man, I don't know if you notice this either. It doesn't matter if it's equities or commodities or cryptos or whatever, or even the housing bubble. When you're talking about investing, the general public loves overpaying for shit. And I never could figure out why. Like, they always come in at the tail end of a mania or an upswing, and that's when they like buying shit. But the time that the fucking people who know what the fuck they're doing, the time when they come in and pounce is after shit gets fucking hammered. The time to buy housing was 2009. The time to buy equities was 2009. The time to buy metal was after gold crashed down to 1100 or 1050 or whatever. The time to buy cryptos, the way I see it, is now. Like Neo, without going into specific, like Neo was trading like 55. Now it's like, I think I saw it at 18 this morning. That's like, I see shit like that, and I'm like, dude, that's like fucking stealing. So for me, I view this with everything that's happened in the last week, 10 days, as opportunity. If you don't need that capital immediately, and it's all, you're bullish on the long end. So the time to buy shit is when it's cheap, and without giving recommendations and telling people what to do. It's like, this is the kind of shit you want to see. I don't like seeing Bitcoin at $5,000 or $6,000 on a complete exponential fucking curve. I like seeing these crashes and corrections, because that's when I come in and be like, all right, it's actually reasonable again to get back in. So many of the people, but here's what I will tell you, and I don't know if you've noticed this too. These are the exact moments, these volatile, crashes in the wrong direction. These are the exact times when the naysayers of the cryptos really jump in and pile on. Like, we told you so, we told you so, we told you so. And I'm not sure if you'd like notice that as well, but that's the way
No, I noticed the same thing, man. I totally believe that guys like even Jamie Dimon, who was out there poo-pooing Bitcoin, saying Bitcoin's a fraud. Here he is, the CEO of a bank that's been fined close to the tune of $40 billion, maybe even more at this point, from all the scandals. all the fraud he's been in, from MERS to interest rate swap rigging, to LIBOR scandal, to the derivative scandals, to the scandals in manipulating silver and gold. The list goes on and on and on. The CEO of America's largest criminal bank is out there calling Bitcoin a fraud, but at the same time he's saying, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to $100,000. Wait a minute, Jamie, so what is it? Is it a fraud or is it not a fraud? When you say that it can possibly go to $100,000 before it crashes and then it's going to be bad and blah, 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 and you'll fire any trader who's caught trading it, blah, 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 blah. The fact of the matter is, I think this beatdown is it's basically Jamie Dimon backing up his wallet and loading up, man.
So, well, here's what I will tell you about that. It kind of chimes into the whole law of unintended consequences thing. So, two of my buddies, from one from high school, one from college, and they're two of literally like they're both like entrepreneurs, successful as fuck, like two of the more successful guys I've grown up with and have known for decades. But they're not necessarily in our sector. They're just mainstream guys, but they both make a really, really fucking good living with running their own companies. And I've been talking to them about crypto for a couple of years now, and they're keeping an eye on it. You know, they'll stay mainstream. They'll see the occasional Bloomberg article or whatever, CNBC, and the Jamie Dimon comments. Both these guys made them reach out to me and say, "You were right. It's legit." Like, so the fact that you're right, the CEO of the largest bank, and that was me even before telling them. Like, so my rebuttal to them was, they're like, "Oh my god, if the CEO of fucking Chase is talking about it, you're right. It is legit." Because they're not like me and you, where like they're totally red pilled. But you're not gonna bullshit these guys. They're pretty fucking savvy dudes, and they're like, if Jamie Dimon's talking about it, man, it is fucking legit. Like the fact that he even would take time to speak about it, and then furthermore, it's like he's also had executives from his bank leave to get into the Bitcoin space. So when you have, like, your Blythe Masters of the world, so when you have people that are high up in management leave a firm to start crypto, and then the head of the firm starts talking shit about crypto, even the general public that isn't necessarily knee deep in it the way you and I would be, like, light bulbs start to go off, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, that maybe it is fucking legit. So I think their constant quest to bash it only helps our cause. The more concerning thing for me, and it's not concerning, dude, I think me and you talked about it briefly a couple weeks ago. And again, I view this shit as, these times, as buying opportunities, but the sort of what I brought up a couple weeks ago, where government can establish choke points, they will. And that is the more concerning thing to me slightly, like what we're seeing in China. When they have the ability to, it's all about transitioning in and out of fiat. That's the only thing they could really control, or that they kind of have their tentacles around. So they'll go after exchanges. They'll go after the pick and shovel businesses surrounding cryptos, where there are offices where they could kick the fucking doors down, where there are physical locations where the cryptos themselves are decentralized and they're hard to fuck with, etc. But the governments do have the power to go after choke points, and that's what people need to be cognizant of. But the good news is, given our space, we're always and our clients are very savvy of it too. People who listen to you, or people who do business with you or do business with us, we're constantly trying to analyze counterparty risk. It doesn't matter if it's metal or crypto or whatever. So our clients are savvy. Your listeners are savvy. They're aware of these choke points. They're aware of the danger of counterparty risk. So be careful with the exchanges, man. That's all I'm saying. Be careful with these hot wallets. Be careful with the exchanges. I can't preach it enough. The same way with metal as it is with crypto. If you don't hold that fucking private key, just be cognizant of it. Anything could fucking happen. So make sure you know how to control it. Make sure you know how to take shit. to cold storage. Be very well versed in all of that, because at the end of the day, government could choke an exchange. So even if the exchange is perfect and awesome, and it's not a Mount Gox bullshit, and it's not anything like that, you still do always risk the possibility of government choke points. So be cognizant, aware of that, be aware of that, and protect yourself at any means necessary, by any means necessary, I should say.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. You have to be cognizant of it. And this is what people, and again, even to this day, 5 years later, after Bitcoin's made his, it's been more than 5 years since cryptocurrencies really started getting popular. People are still confused between wallets and exchanges. So you often hear their arguments. Well, such and such got hacked, such and such got shut down. See, they take all your Bitcoin. But that's on the exchanges, man. That's not on the wallets. That's on the exchanges.
Dude, that's like blaming wheat if the CME group steals your money. It's not fucking soybeans' fault if the CME group steals your money. That's fucking retarded. So you can't with MF Global, for example, you can't actually blame a commodity. You have to blame the fiduciary. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It has nothing to do with the crypto. It has to do with the counterparty or the fiduciary, which in that case is the exchange itself. So it's nice to be able to get in and out of the cryptos real fast. So I understand that's why people keep their exchange accounts loaded. But just be aware, man, the shit moves lightning quick. So even if you have to go from cold to hot onto the exchange, it's only like a 2-move threshold, cold wallet, hot wallet, exchange, bam. The whole thing takes fucking 10, 15 minutes. It's not like it takes fucking 8 days to fucking load an exchange account. So if you want to hold them yourself. And if you're, if you want to make a quick move and swap cryptos, take it back to the fucking exchange. I'm overly fucking paranoid. So sometimes it's to my detriment. Like I come off like a fucking weirdo. But if something goes wrong, dude, the person that's to blame is me. Like I should have known better. Like you go through life, you get burned a few times. Doesn't matter if it's business or a fucking woman or whatever. And it's like, you got to fucking learn from that shit. So I'd rather be slightly overly cautious and paranoid and go cold storage than let a third party control my shit. And even if the third party's legit, I mean, you don't know if the feds are going to kick the fucking door down. I mean, it's the Wild West, and it's people got to take precautions. The last 8 months, 9 months, I've seen a lot of easy money in the space, which is both good and bad. It's good to the fact that I love free markets and I love capitalism and etc. The bad is that people shouldn't think it's gonna. The markets are volatile, dude. They're volatile as fuck. So people shouldn't think that it's going to indefinitely be these huge upswing. You can trust all the exchanges, and it's always going to go up 50% a month. And like, dude, that's nonsense. You can't trust every exchange, and there are going to be corrections, and there is going to be volatility, and those are markets, dude. Like but it's when people get a taste of, getting rich in 3 months or 6 months, they automatically assume it's going to be this way forever, when that's not the way markets work. Just be careful, both with who's holding the specific crypto and what you're investing in. Going all in on any position is always a gamble. So again, I'm overly paranoid. Sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. My whole thing is it's beyond me. Like, one of the things that we sell is through one of our sponsors is the Gold USB, and the Gold USB is a phenomenal product. It's something that you could you have a secured encrypted Bitcoin wallet on top of the typical alphanumeric keys that the Bitcoin wallet already provides you. But on top of that, it's like you have encrypted web browsing, encrypted email, encrypted messaging. The whole damn thing is like it's laced up tighter than Fort Knox. And then, I get like customer, like the guys over at Gold USB is like, yeah, man, we get customer emails where people are like, well, I'm using my Gold USB and using the browser that's built in there, which is, based off the Tor browser. I can't access my Coinbase account. Like, why in God's name would you do that? You know, like you shouldn't keep. First of all, you shouldn't keep. Man, I had to get people who had $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in cryptos and just sitting there in Coinbase. I mean, that's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. You should be transferring that as a pass-through to your own paper wallet. Be as anonymous as possible. It behooves you to stay off the radar.
Well, and we as a company, Will and myself, we have company accounts with a lot of these players. I mean, we've accepted Bitcoin, and so I don't want to reference them by name because I don't want them to shut down our payment processing account. But I'll give the listeners an example of what third parties can do. So we've been accepting Bitcoin for 5 years. We use numerous payment processors, numerous exchanges, a few of them on a couple transactions. And me and Will like pull our fucking hair out at how frustrating and how fucking shady it is. Like a client will run a transaction, pay for it using Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if it's metal or an LLC IRA or whatever. And then the payment processor, who also is an exchange as well, will basically hold the Bitcoin because it was underpaid or overpaid by 0.000001 Bitcoin or some shit, like just a minuscule for like fucking 11 cents. They'll hold the Bitcoin in limbo, and if Bitcoin on the market, if it goes up, they'll release the Bitcoin at our original purchase price. So we'll make exactly what we should have made on the transaction. If Bitcoin goes down while they're holding it, waiting for verification of the 8-cent difference, they'll give us the new downside rate. So we've had Bitcoin crash $600-700 before in 24 hours. And if you've been following Bitcoin for 5 years, you know that's not new, which is not a big deal. But when they're holding a transaction or two of yours, and let's say it's a 5-figure transaction, a client's trying to buy 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand worth of metal, and they hold the payment processor holds the Bitcoin for that, and then they release the Bitcoin to you, the merchant, us, Perpetual Assets, after the crash. The payment processor essentially has fucked us before out of thousands of dollars, and we can't offset that to the client. I can't tell a client, tough shit, you locked in, Bitcoin crash. So we have to honor the pledge to the client. So we us as a company, Perpetual Assets, we've had to eat that before. So again, we're very skeptical, not skeptical, we're just very careful, we're cognizant of it. And people should know the cryptocurrency itself is not the same thing as the companies and merchants that surround the cryptocurrency. That goes for exchanges, that goes for payment processors, that goes for all of them. It's the Wild West out there. Not only is the asset itself incredibly volatile and moves, but I got a puppy chewing on my leg right now. Not only is the asset volatile and yeah, I know, she's insane. Not only is the asset volatile and moves, but then a lot of times you have to do business with companies who, and again, the reason I don't mention the company is because number one, we still do business with them on a time-to-time basis, and I can't prove that the act was malice. You could always, people, when you try to pigeonhole people and say, "Oh, you fucked me over," and you know exactly what the fuck you were doing, it's always hard to prove intent. They could say it's not malice, it's incompetence. So, and guess what? When most people fuck you over, they claim incompetence. They're like, "Oh, we didn't mean to do that." But people, buyer beware, man. Just be careful out there. It's exciting. It is the future. But just proceed with caution, man. The technology moves so fucking fast, and there are a lot of players. A lot of them are great. A lot of them aren't great. And you're right. I would caution everyone to be very careful, especially the more and more expensive it gets, the bigger the space gets, the greater all these market capitalizations grow. The more charlatans, the more swindlers are going to enter the space, dude. Where there is money and where there is capital, there are fucking con artists. So just be fucking careful.
Absolutely correct, man. Especially this early stage of the game. That's why, folks, look. I said this often. Nobody's coming to save you. You have to take the provisions and all the faculties in terms of your financial future. You got to take it into your own hands. Start learning this. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, for the love of God, you've allowed fund managers who say they're going to charge you a 2% fee, winds up being 15%, and they're giving you, they're barely breaking even for you on the market, or they're giving you a loss. It's enough of that. It's going to take some homework, but it's going to take some dedication on your part. Learn, educate, empower yourself. Put the destiny in your own hands. This is not rocket science. You don't need a PhD to do this. It just takes some time and effort on your part, and it can be easily done, man. Absolutely.
To your point, we have, dealing in retirement accounts. People will call, ask about our product. We'll walk them through the product, exactly what it costs, how long does it take, how do you execute it, all reasonable questions. And then many times we have to know what kind of current account they're dealing in now, but many times the conversation will gravitate to what kind of fees they're currently paying. So you're right. A lot of people, especially when it comes to something like a retirement account, they'll just put it off to the side, contribute to it, and they'll trust the establishment. They'll trust the financial institution. They'll trust the fund manager, et cetera. It's not until many times someone will actually audit all the little fees they're getting hit with, every single transaction, every single trade, every single position, bam, bam, bam. And lots of these people who do call us, not only call us because they want to get involved in crypto or in metal or whatever with their retirement account, they'll call us because they've audited their fucking bill, or they've audited their account, and they're like, holy shit, they've been fucking me for, thousands of dollars every fucking year, so it'd be nice if you didn't have to worry about that kind of shit and you could just go about your life, worrying about your career. But part of the whole libertarian philosophy is accountability and self-ownership. And, so if you're not watching out for your best interests, then who the fuck else is going to? Like, no one will look out for you better than you'll look out for yourself. That's my philosophy on it.
Absolutely, man. And moving along, shifting gears here a little bit. Let's get on one of our favorite topics. Gus, it's this: the war goddess is on her book tour, my man. The war goddess is on her bitch tour.
Dude, what a fucking loser! This bitch was almost running the country. What a fucking loser! Have you ever seen anyone bitch like this for 8 straight months? And she's like, nah, dude, she just won't go away. Why won't she go? Like, it is the latest theory that I think I saw it a couple days ago. Is Bernie working for Putin now too? Wasn't she saying something like that?
Yeah, she was. She was saying that Bernie had help from the Russians. Then there was WikiLeaks. And then there's suburban housewives, and then there's white people in general, and then there's Donald Trump's son, and then there was the FBI, and then there was James Comey, and then there was somebody else, and then it was the weather, and then it was Bill, and then it was this, and then it was that. I mean, dude, the woman I don't know who in her team of idiots told this crazy psycho person to go on ahead with this. So this is in effect what it's doing to her image in reality is not only she dug a hole with herself as being one of the most corrupt, criminally corrupt individuals to ever enter politics, but what this has done, Gus, it has literally dug a hole for herself, and she jumped in there with 2 grenades with the pins pulled.
I mean, at this point, and this maybe my struggle with her is like putting myself in her shoes because I'm incapable of that level of evil, despite what Carl Jung says. I don't understand her upside, meaning that there are so many. If I'm her, right? If I'm her and her fucking husband, and I've been running what could be categorized as a 3 decade long crime syndicate. Wouldn't you want to just kind of take your money, whatever whatever money she was able to embezzle from from speeches and non-for-profits and the rest of it, wouldn't you just want to take that and ride off into the sunset? Like, just quietly, you have whatever they're worth. What are they worth? $100 million or whatever?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Wouldn't you just want to take that and kind of like just go retire to an island and, you know, so be it? I don't understand, with all her skeletons in the closet, with all the things she could get in trouble for, with all the things that still could go public, the fact that she has the audacity to sit here and lecture us on why, you know, not only what went wrong, but why we're all, you know, evil bigots. Dude, why not just go away? You're rich as fuck, and you've gotten away with God knows how many felonies your whole life. Like, just right off into the sunset, bitch. Like, is she incapable of just, but maybe that ties into the whole, not only her fucking whatever cluster B personality disorder she has, if they're not more than one and they're comorbid, but it ties into the whole liberal philosophy of it's not about money with these people, dude. It's about power, and it's about controlling people, and it's about, you know, so all the money, maybe we could give her 10 billion and she wouldn't go away. Like, she needs to tell me and you what's best for us, and tell our kids that they're little bigots. Yeah, dude, they're just, because most, again, maybe I'm crazy. You give me that kind of money, like, dude, I'll be in Rome smoking cigarettes and drinking whiskey, like, playing poker and telling jokes. Like, I don't need give me 100 million. You'll never see me again later. Like, I don't need to be in the limelight. Like, once you earn that, dude, I love what I do, but ultimately, you know, I wouldn't mind just sitting on a beach reading fucking Nietzsche all day. Like, I don't fucking, you know, but for her, it's an illness, dude. She's just an ill bitch, like an evil, ill bitch.
Dude, she is beyond evil. It's a mental disorder, man. These people are so drunk on power, they can't leave well enough alone. And that's the problem. They've gotten away with so much crap for so long, man. They literally think that they are untouchable. They literally think that nobody can touch them, that they're above the law, and that people are actually interested in them. Hillary, we're not interested in you. Your book has already been discounted 40% by both Walmart and Amazon and Barnes & Nobles before it even hit the shelves. It's not even on the shelves yet. Nobody wants your book. It's garbage. It's go away. You're not helping your party.
Are they? Yeah. Are you under the impression they're prompting up little mini me Chelsea for a run here soon?
You know, the whole thing with Chelsea, it's like Chelsea has the same chance of running for president or becoming president that Mark Zuckerberg has from Facebook. They both have personalities that are reminiscent to me of an eggplant. The problem with Chelsea, Mark Zuckerberg is better off because he doesn't have the Clinton last name. Chelsea has zero chance because nobody wants to see the Clinton name anymore. We're sick of these people. Zuckerberg is not going to go nowhere because he's so stupid. He has zero personality or real intelligence, for that matter. I don't know how he got to where he is. Well, I have some ideas that I could prove beyond a shadow of a doubt how he got to where he is. I'm not going to go into that today. But the thing with Zuckerberg is that he's hired the same strikeout artist to run his exploratory commission to see if Zuckerberg could run for office and give universal income to everybody, where all of us will get $1,000 a month, and magically the GDP grows 12%.
Oh, dude, I love it. I just direct deposit it straight into my account. I'll be playing Space Invaders and jerking off. Let me know if you need my routing and account number. I'll get the dude. He's the thought of someone like him with the total control of that social media platform. And you're right. I think he's such just an awkward, weird fuck that he wouldn't, you know, I don't think, even if it is real, I don't think he'd last past a primary or two. But the thought of someone like that could come along, anyone who controls any of these major platforms, dude, it's almost like the famous movie Citizen Kane, where he gets into politics and he controls the newspapers. once if you control platforms that big and you want to start commingling that into the revolving door of political power, that's really, really fucking dangerous. So I don't think he stands a fucking chance in hell. But anytime I see any of these guys from doesn't matter if it's Bezos or Schmidt or Zuckerberg or whatever, they have so much influence over people's communication and realities. The thought of them having control over, the guys with guns in government is fucking terrifying.
It literally is, man. And the funny thing is that I can confidently say in the next 3 to 5 years, I don't even think Facebook will be around. There's so much more disruptive technology that are coming out. Facebook's days are numbered, just like YouTube and Google's days are numbered as well. Because all these companies are suffering brain drain, bro. Look at because they've lashed onto the left so much that they themselves are cannibalizing themselves. They're not hiring talent. If you gotta go work for Google, forget about the fact that you'd be a phenomenal engineer or whatnot. If you're some blue-haired tranny, okay, that has some extreme leftist feminist views, third-wave feminist views, then they'll hire you. Forget the fact that you have zero ability to code, that you can't practically do anything. That's the kind of people they look for. Silicon Valley's doomed. It's doomed.
Dude, and personally, it was, and I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, the platform itself, I was kind of amused by it all, the whole MySpace, Facebook, platform. 10 years ago, it was kind of funny fun to fuck around with for a year or two. But now, dude, for me, it's just annoying and sad. It's like I'll log on once a fucking, whatever, once a month. And it's people, it's just a miserable sandpit to me. It's just people posting traffic sucks, a frowny face emoji, Mondays, here's a picture of my fucking dessert, here's a picture of my fucking tiramisu. Who gives a fuck? People have forgotten, I think anyway, and to each their own. If you go on a vacation and the first thing on your mind is making sure everyone sees how awesome your vacation is, it's dude, who gives a fuck? So I think there's a real, and it ties into the whole narcissistic Kardashian fucking culture. We always need to, people check in hey, I'm at this restaurant. Dude, who gives a fuck if you're at that restaurant? You need to take 5 minutes out of your fucking meal to let people know you're eating a fucking burger. Who gives a fuck? In the fact society is even fucking migrated to this shit. And when some of these people, what do they say? Some of these people are just famous for the sake of being famous. It's insane to me. Yeah.
What did Kim Kardashian do to deserve her fame?
Dude, blowjobs and selfies. I don't get it. Whenever anyone tells me capitalism isn't perfect, I'm all right, I'll give you that, because the Kardashians. I can't figure out the Kardashian model. Well, I could figure it out. It ties into subjective value theory. So it's not necessarily a failure of capitalism. It's a failure of our society. It's more that our society gives her the power to monetize it. That's the failure.
Oh man, absolutely, man. Absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly. Well, man, we got some hurricanes coming our way. I heard Jose is going no mama's way. Might make it a little bit up to the East Coast. We might get a little bit of wind up here in Nuevo York, and then we have another storm. So it's going to be interesting, man. And the lefties are out there talking about global warming, and it's because we're denying climate change. All this crap is happening. Forget the fact that this is a normal 10,000-year sun cycle. What do you got to say about that, bro?
I got to say that I'll come by and pick you up, and me and you go looting for sneakers. And yes, we'll probably be interviewed as heroes by CNN. We're trying to feed our kids with Jordans.
That's it.
What I have to say is there's a couple of things. Number one, that it looks like the quote unquote, they make fun of us for being self-reliant and being preppers. It doesn't look like we're that fucking crazy after all. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, oh, it looks like we're not crazy for actually getting ready for crazy shit. We're just, we're aware things could happen. The second thing is the looting thing really bothers me, dude. Really bothers me. Not so much that people do it. People have always done it. There will always be criminals out there. There have always been, and there always will be. What really angers me and upsets me and actually makes me vomit in my fucking mouth is the left's romanticizes it. They make it seem like, again, they make it seem like all these people are stealing baby formula, when we know for a fact they're not. A lot of the Florida shit coming out was gun shops or sneaker shops, or same with Houston. It's always, like these, they might make you think these people are feeding their kids with the TV they're stealing from Best Buy. Like, let's cut the bullshit, right? So it's, let's just call it what it is. It's they either destroy property or they're stealing property. And looting should not be romanticized. The fact that they're like, we know who they're voting for. Let's put it that way. And the left doesn't want to upset their base, the looting base. So yeah, that's completely disgusting. And to your point, I noticed it that they've taken both these things, both Houston and Florida, and they're dude. My buddy, again, I've been in Orange County for 24 hours. He put on Bill Maher last night for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. And I'm like, dude, I can't watch this. Within 90 seconds of it being on, Maher automatically shifted to, this is obviously all global warming. Like they can't, dude, everything's politicized now, man. It's sports, natural disasters, theft, everything is political. I've never, and again, we're the same. Me and you are roughly the same age. I don't ever remember it like this, man. Everything that fucking happens, literally, is there's some political spin on it or some political narrative on it that we told you so. This is global warming, or this is victims, or it's nauseating. It's exhausting. Like it's exhausting, and it's all like so indoctrinating and on bias, and it's disgusting. All of it's fucking disgusting. So I used to watch a lot of those channels just to get the left's argument and shit, but it's become so predictable, dude. I know where every conversation is going before it gets there. And all I need to do is turn on Bill Maher or Trevor Noah or Rachel Maddow for literally 30 seconds, and I automatically know where they're taking a narrative, and it always leads to the same place. And I'm not sure if you've reached that point too, where you could just like see through these people within a fucking minute or two.
Yeah, it's 4 tracks that they follow: racism, climate change, capitalism sucks. And then what else? Healthcare, or it's always identity politics. And to them, all these roads and these various avenues of identity politics leads to one solution, which is bigger government and more totalitarian control over our lives to eliminate these ails of humanity in this so-called utopia that these idiots concoct in their own head, man. And the funny thing is, it's like, they're becoming so tired, and people are so bored with them, man. It's so predictable, bro. So predictable. You're absolutely right.
Well, and for everything they say, and I agree with literally everything you said, because that's where they always take everything. Their solution, to your point, is always big government. And what does big government really mean when you equate it to? Big government means more of our fucking money. That's what big government means. Big government means less control of your own life, both socially and financially, and more state power. Higher taxes, more inflation, more deficit spending, more monetary stimulus, less freedom. That's their solution to everything. And my greatest thing is I could deal with the the false accusations of you're a sexist, you're a bigot, you're a xenophobic. I could deal with all that because I just like, yeah, sure I am. Yeah, I've known you for 30 seconds. Sure I am. Fuck off. What I can't deal with them is them. That's them trying to take the moral high ground. What I struggle with is they also try taking the intellectual high ground. So if you ever, it doesn't matter if you're listening to Bill Maher or Colbert or Maddow or whatever, they're in their minds, and what they articulate to their audience is, we are not only the good ones morally, our side, but they're like, we're the super smart ones. Like we're the intellectual elite as well. And it's like, it's just these mindless people in the audience just clapping and whatever. And that's when I snap. I could deal with the virtue signaling. I could deal with the moral high ground bullshit because I could just sweep that under the rug. But when they start thinking that, like, and it's these people who've never fucking done a lot of these people are like, what the fuck is Bill Maher done? Like the guy acts like he's fucking worked for NASA. It's like, dude, fuck off. The fact that they all act like they're fucking Isaac Newton is what really that's when I get triggered. I'm like, dude, you're not smart, dumb fuck. Like, why are you so cocky? Like, because I'm a communist that believes in global warming. I'm a genius. Like, dude, no, you're actually not. They think that's what I think that's what they sell to the sheep and to the zombies. Like, if you're one of us, you're a brilliant person and a kind person. I think that's their sales pitch to their people.
No, it is, man, and that's that's how they get them. That's how they get the simple-minded, by making them feel great about themselves with this artificially inflated, virtue-signaled, self-aggrandized egos that they have, man. And the whole thing is, when you look at programs like Rachel Madcow and Bill Maher and all, and the Trevor Noahs of this world, and the Seth whatever his name is, that other idiot on network cable television. When you look at all these guys and all these leftist idiots who are sitting in their audience clapping, because these are all intellectual midgets. These are all intellectual. I've had so many arguments with leftists, and I've happily decimated every single one of them. Guys, here's the reality. Us libertarians, us conservatives, we always have the better argument. Why? Because we have facts backing up everything that we do. We have logic. And the leftists don't have any of that. They have emotions, and the logic that's like full of holes, has more holes than Swiss cheese. So a lot of these audiences, like Madcow and all these guys, dude, they're just giant echo chambers for them to, like, pat themselves and make themselves feel good. And I agree with you, man, dude. You and I are on the same page. I could stand the virtue signaling. I could stand the identity politics, but I draw the line on when it comes to trying to insult my intelligence, saying that you have the lock on intelligence. When you come up to me with some bullshit saying, well, there is global warming. Nah, it is 100% consensus in the scientific community. No, fucktard. It is not 100% consensus in the scientific community. If there is, show me any field in science, hard science, where there's 100% consensus. It doesn't exist, number one. Number two, and then you start going into the percentage of carbon dioxide. Is it anthropogenic, meaning is it man caused? Why then you get the sun cycles, and all of a sudden you see these libtards and their eyes begin to glaze over, because now they realize they brought a knife into a gunfight. And then what do? They always revert to emotional outbursts. That's what always happens, man. Have you seen the same thing happen to you, where you start arguing with these idiots and all of a sudden they break down and it gets all emotional, they start name calling you?
Well, yeah, the guys, and this is what me and you have been talking about for over a year now. It's like the guys act like women, and like their women think they're men. Like, and I'm not even talking like tranny mentality. I'm talking like, I've never had a liberal guy. I've never had a political discussion with a liberal guy almost get physical. Like, he'll usually start like panting and like get all fucking weird and triggered, but it'll be like an emotional breakdown, like he's watching a Bette Midler movie or something. But the women are the ones who physically try attacking you. So I've literally had like feminists and liberals, like the minute she senses she's like losing the debate, you could tell like she's ready to like start swinging at you and shit. And then many times I have been hit. and she's lucky I'm not a liberal guy, because I might hit back. Although I think he probably swats like he was like he was doggy paddling. They break down, and it's all, once you start getting into the meat and potatoes, they're basically used to parroting. They'll watch these late night news channels, and they'll parrot those talking points. And when you come in, and just like you said, dude, when you come in and you start throwing out facts or asking more, you know who does my favorite mainstream news anchor is by far Tucker. He does I love Tucker. Yeah, he does a great job of just asking. Like, he had that Bill Maher guy on, or whatever the hell his name is, Bill Nye. And he's like,
Bill Nye, the bachelor's engineering guy?
Yeah, but the mechanical engineer, right? And he's like, all right, so fine. You say climate change is real. Like, how he basically said, you claim this is no longer a thesis. You claim it's an axiom. Great, please quantify it. Meaning, like, all right, give me the numbers behind it. How fast is it accelerating? How much is man actually caused, et cetera? And Bill Nye, like, all of a sudden couldn't answer. Like, so when it's time for the specific data or the meat and potatoes of, all right, how fast, it doesn't matter if we're talking about climate change or the gender gap or any other fucking liberal talking point. Once you actually start asking questions on the hard data itself, like, all right, let's actually dive into this data and start nitpicking. Again, once you claim something is no longer a thesis and you claim it's an axiom, it's a proven, then your debate and your argument around the axiom has to be fucking bulletproof, meaning you should be able to cover every single angle of it. It's no longer theory. It's not a thesis. Your claim is it's a done deal, right? It's a fact now. Great. Now let's dive into it. Let's quantify it. Let's get into and they can't, especially, dude, again, most of them, it's not even their field they're talking about. Again, when you start talking about the journalism majors that, like the Maddows and whoever of the world, or the stand-up comedians who educate the liberals, like, it's like that's just infesting the culture, dude, with propaganda and indoctrination, and that's why they get triggered. I think we were talking about, like, do they lose their minds? Do they lose their tempers? Yes, it's because they're bullshitters, and when someone like you or me or anyone else from our side actually, like, starts calling them on their bullshit, they have no other choice but to just have a breakdown, an emotional breakdown of some sort, because they're like, oh, how dare you? And they literally, dude, they lose their minds. I've seen it hundreds of times, literally. It's incredible.
Absolutely correct, man. And you're right, 1,000%. They literally lose their minds. They can't do nothing, and oh man, it's also a brave new world. So all the extreme flaming third wave feminists, I suggest you knock it off, because you guys want to start acting like men and saying that you're better than men and whatnot. And all of a sudden, there's more and more videos coming out on YouTube of men returning the favor, because there are certain men out there that, when you come with that third wave feminism nonsense, not only do they believe in equal rights, but they also believe in equal lefts. So,
that's why, dude, I stick to my point. They don't, all these groups, when you start getting into all these ideologies, none of them really want equality. What they really want is special treatment. You give me the most bitter, hardcore feminist. Trust me when I tell you, she does not, she could talk a mean game, but she does not want me to treat her the same way I treat a guy friend. She does not want, if she was, instead of me having a younger brother, if she was like my younger sister, she does not want me doing to her what I did to my younger brother. Trust me. So yeah. She could talk a mean game, but at the end of the day, if I really explain, like, you don't want me dropping a fucking elbow across your mouth over an argument. Like, you don't want to be treated like a guy. Trust me. They act like it's glorious. Dude, there's no feminists in a sinking ship. They're all feminists until we are kind enough to say, all right, women and children first. Please go ahead. You get to go first. We'll bite the bullet on this one. So it's all special treatment. It's all bullshit, and people are starting to see through it. That's why he won, dude. That's why he won.
Yeah, exactly correct. Gus Demos, we're at the end of the broadcast. And give out your closing comments, how people get a hold of you and Will over at Perpetual Assets, your social media, and how they can follow you, sir. Go right ahead.
Perpetual Assets, perpetualassets.com. You could type it into a search engine and notice how I don't use the G word anymore. I'm saying search engines now. So I'm trying, purposefully, I'm trying to change my linguistics to veer away from those platforms.
Hey, get the Brave browser.
Dude, next week we'll get into it. I want to start talking to you a lot more about the browser's anonymity and all that stuff. It's time. I'm ready to start just migrating away from all that shit and encrypting everything. So yeah, Perpetual Assets, we're the only ones out there. You could find us really easily. You can look at any of our products, email us with questions, call us with any questions, and hopefully I make it through this weekend in LA in one piece, and I'm not kidnapped by any communists, and I'll be back next week to talk with you guys.
Absolutely. And with that being said, folks, thank you all for joining in and listening in, especially this episode of Cuss with Gus. We'll be back next week, and we'll be mic'd up and ready to go. We had some sound issues today. That's why we had to constantly hit mute back and forth, so it kind of affected the banter. But overall, it's a great show. Check back with us next week. Same Gus time, same Gus channel. With that being said, we are over and out. And I'm going to take it away because CJ's mobile. Hasta la pasta, everyone.